Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kissy. So, I wanted to have a quick conversation. Just wondering, have you ever had a conversation where you're exerting your boundaries for something small, something simple, like examples? You bought a special drink or a drink that's specific that you want it for you. And you'll mention it to your housemates. This is my drink, guys. And you put it away. You let them know this is all for you, everything else, but this one specific thing is for me. And before you know it, someone takes it. And you let them know, hey, you took my stuff after I told you not to. And they get upset about it, or they act like, well, what's the big deal? Or they'll say, well, why is it an issue? Like, okay, fine, I'm sorry, get over it. So it's like dismissive. They don't really care. And so that behavior gets repeated in other ways. So it might not be the drink that you say, hey, this is my drink, please don't touch it. It could be something like going into your personal space, taking something, borrowing, quote unquote, something of yours, and then not even giving it back. And when you ask, does anybody know where it is? They don't even remember that they just conveniently borrowed it. And so people like this, that have no regard for your boundaries, that have no respect for your for your needs, but also no respect for the relationship, because the fact that the person is bringing up, hey, I want to have this conversation with you, and you can't even have that conversation without it being some kind of altercation, some kind of issue, or some kind of dismissive behavior that says, I am not equipped or able to or willing to or wanting to hear how you feel about me. And when somebody says that to you by their actions or lack of actions, they're not equipped to hear how you feel about them. These are people that are unwilling to receive that which they give. So it's like they don't want to hear the input about what they output. So that's a imbalance in terms of receptive energy, or in terms of, give and take, right? It's like you can put out your energy all day long. You can dish it, but you can't take it, is the phrase, right? And when you have people like that, that are blocked, that can't hear you, that for whatever reason their ear chakras are closed, the simplest questions will trigger them. And the behaviors that people have to avoid hearing about themselves from another person, it has to be questioned. It has to be looked at. It has to be, with big question marks, like, really? I mean, do you know how many people will avoid you, block you, or create some kind of stupid ass excuse, reason to pick an argument with you, to then not speak to you, to block you, obviously do that, to obviously create a boundary between you that says, you're not allowed in here, you cannot talk to me, I don't want to hear what you have to say. A person that is that closed-minded, that is unwilling to hear what you have to say, there's only two reasons when somebody doesn't want to hear what you have to say. Either one, you've said the same shit over and over again, too many times that it's like, that's it. Your time's up. You had the opportunity to speak your mind, to say what you really needed to say, to hear what you needed to hear, to do what you needed to do. And then you chose to ignore it or rebel against it or not receive the wisdom to rectify. Therefore, now there is no rectifying it. It's like, okay, forget it. Forget it. It's like when debts are kind of like written off or whatever. It doesn't mean it goes away. It means, all right, you cease. What is it? Cease to desist or something like that. Whatever. You let it go, but that energy remains there. Yeah, okay. From me personally, you don't have to hear this conversation again about you. You don't have to hear how you are affecting others. You don't have to hear about that. You don't have to hear it coming out of me. Who am I to judge you, right? Who am I to tell you anything? But the thing is, when it's a direct relationship and you did something to me and you're saying, hey, we're in a relationship here, we're friends or we're family or we're cool like that, but you're unwilling to hear me when I say, this thing you're doing, I don't like it, stop doing it. You don't need to be told more than one time, like, to hear that, to know, oh, that's a boundary that I cannot cross with this person. Otherwise, the consequence is that this person will no longer be in this relationship with me in this same way. People don't get that. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand how that's so hard to comply with or to live by or to respect. Because, and here's the weird part, it's so one-sided sometimes that, you know, these people like, oh, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that they think ignoring you, shunning you, running away from you somehow, like you're the mafia behind them. And you may not even be like that. You may have let it be known, this is where I stand with it. But instead of coming back around, like, to contemplate it and realize, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? How am I creating anything beneficial through doing this? Instead of doing that, instead of sitting with themselves and then at least, let's say, you know what? You're right. I should have thought it through before involving myself with you in any way, or being involved in this dynamic in any way, whatever it is. And I should have acted accordingly. But I didn't. So, therefore, you're right. I rather exit the system or exit your dynamic. And that's harsh because it just shows that the intention was never there to begin with, but at least it's true. At least it's real. It's the types that don't even acknowledge that. The types that can't even hear the conversation. The types that will not even give you the benefit to hear you because they think that somehow they're punishing you. I'm not going to give them that vindication. I'm not going to give them that win. I'm not going to give them that you're right or, acknowledge that I did that to you or that I ruined this dynamic or that I betrayed your trust. They don't do that. They won't do that. And they don't do that until they're ready to face themselves. It takes a lot of courage, literally, it really does take a lot of courage to admit you're wrong. And it takes a lot of courage to tell someone how you actually feel. Even if those feelings aren't well received. But it's better to be honest and real than to maintain a false dynamic. And I don't know why people would rather live that way. Excuse me. So it was just a quick message. I'll come back soon. Take care.